Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the 5 to 9 Job Podcast. I'm your host, Raymond, and today I am just checking in with you. As usual, I get some time to kind of do these diary entry episodes whereby I just provide an update on life, on things regarding the podcast, and also just share a bit of the ideas I come across during the week and think maybe they might be useful or they might be insightful to you also. In this episode, I just want to provide an update on the podcast as well as workshop a few ideas on comparison, on the blessings, and so much more. So I guess that's it, and let's get into the episode. For everyone listening, thank you for tuning into another episode of the 5 to 9 Job Podcast. Okay, so number one on the agenda is an update on the podcast. Podcast has been going well, though I still have an issue with the audio just because even with the microphones I was able to procure, I'm still not so happy with the kind of audio that comes out of or that it produces, even with the editing, and maybe I'm doing it wrong for now. But I'm just not so satisfied with the kind of audio that comes out. So I think I might need to invest some more into new microphones even after getting these ones. So either I'll have to give these ones away or I'll just keep them on as maybe backups or something like that, because they are very portable. They are plug and play. I've literally gone to YouTube and tried to research how to use these microphones the best way so that I can optimize the sound. But whatever you are listening to right now is the best that can come out of this. So I think I'll just need to use another formula or get another microphone. But anyway, that is not what this podcast is about. So we started this year blazing, or I want to think so. We put out a New Year's resolution series. It was just a test run. We are always trying to test new things out and see how they work. So the idea behind the New Year's resolution series was to kind of see how long we could keep an audience for, in case they were interested in a certain topic. So the topic at hand or during January is usually the New Year's resolutions, and actually put out that series a bit late. I started at around 9th, if I'm not mistaken. So you realize that's already into the year. But that was the whole idea behind the series. Try to see if we can get someone to listen to episode 1 of the series, go to 2, go to 3, go to 4, go to 5. Just provide all this value to them along the steps, and then try to see what the reception is for the resolutions or for the series in particular. Because, with the series, the episodes are released more often than when I'm doing the normal podcast. Because now for like the New Year's resolution series, we literally were putting out an episode a day apart from Sunday. So I think we started Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then jumped Sunday, and then did Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday again, like up to Friday. So that was a lot, but I mean, it was the whole thing was just to kind of test it out and see if the series idea can work. If it does work, we will definitely be trying to do something like, they're just these episodes that you do all these topics that I go on to research, and I find like there are so many things I could say about it, but I have to pick like the first 3 or the top 3, something like that. So with the series format, it allows me to just kind of get all this content out in a way that is relevant to you. I can even put exercises into the episodes or try to drive as much value through these episodes more than if I had to do all of it in one episode. So that was kind of the idea behind it, but we'll wait and see. And then still on the series part, I did realize that the series took a little bit more time to prepare, edit, write, and then, and just tie them all back together and then produce and everything. So I think that will also be something I need to take into consideration as I am going forward. If at all I need to go forward with, like, if the series idea is good, but I haven't really gotten a lot of feedback, or at least the necessary feedback on whether it was It was something that was liked by the audience or not. So I think I'm just going to wait for that feedback before I do another series. But you guys know me already. I like experimenting. I like doing a lot of these things that just come to me. I hope with time that will go down, but I think I might do another series on like graduation or like this whole employee thing, because you guys, every time I record a diary episode, I rant, and just hold on. I'm going to rant just down the line. I'm going to do a small rant on work, but yeah, those are the kind of things I think would be more valuable. Anyway, we'll see how that goes. Then also on the podcast, I've been feeling a bit lazy to record. Oh God, you guys, ever since I recorded like that whole series and had to produce it and had to edit it and then post them and schedule them, I just felt so like drained and overworked. I thought maybe I would like take like a week off. Turns out when you take a week off podcasting or when you take a week off doing anything, it becomes even more harder to get back at it. But yeah, I feel like I'm not getting better fast enough, but I believe that is also the process. So it's not something I'm trying to rush, but I'm also cognizant that I'm not yet as good as I want to be. I have a high standard for this. I have high expectations for this, but I'll try to just keep to the process, like I always say. Yeah, and then other updates with life. I've been living alone literally for like the past 2-3 weeks, and I've been on like the worst diet for I think for like the past I haven't been on a diet this bad for like more than a year, because I've just been working more and then trying to see that I have all these projects moving, seeing that I still have this New Year's resolution energy in me. So I'm trying to just make the most out of it. I really haven't gotten any exercise in apart from some few stretches. At least I'm happy with the meditation and stretching in the evening when I get back home. Like, at least that one I've been able to do consistently. But with tennis, I haven't played tennis, you guys, in like a month. And that is big for me. Wow, it's just been terrible. I hope that is something I can change this weekend. But it's actually not that I'm like inherently lazy, but sometimes it's just either I'm caught up with something, we have had some issues at work. Yeah, property management, you could just have something break down and it swallows a whole week of your time. And then the rain just picks the worst times to appear. You plan to go to court, it rains in the morning, and then it shows you're not going to play, and it rains at midday. So you literally have no choice or any hope that the courts will dry. But yeah, that is it. Since I talked about work, I can also go there. I'm still struggling with my work relationships. I feel like they are getting worse and not better, just because I kind of took the stance that I would actively try to work on them. But there is a way whereby when you highlight something or highlight a problem as being like something you need to work on, it instead becomes like you start to see it more, because I believe that is what is happening. You start to see it more. And then as you start to see it more and try to do all these things, especially if there is no reciprocation from the other side, you start to get more frustrated. So that's the kind of feeling I have been experiencing over the past 2-3 weeks, especially into the year. But I don't know, maybe it might change, but I'm still struggling with that. In particular, there are like 3 or 4. It's not like the whole work environment or anything like that. And yes, I could do more. I definitely agree there, but it should be easier. I don't know. I just want it to be easier. Anyway, on another positive note, I've been listening to more and more podcasts. I've been watching more and more YouTubes. I've been trying to learn as much as I can outside of my 9 to 5 hours. I mean, I'm still a lazy bird when it comes to getting up early. My time is 5. I'm commonly waking up at like 5:50. I don't know how the most common time has been 5:50. Like that's when my body like naturally gets up before the 6 a.m. alarm clock. So I've just been finding myself continuously getting up just before 6, 10 minutes before 6, 20 minutes before 6, 3 minutes before 6. I don't know. I just find myself snoozing the 5 a.m. alarm and then getting up before the 6. But other than that, I've been trying to get my sleep in early, trying to go to bed consistently, trying to wake up consistently, and I think that's improved. I've been trying to read as much as possible. Already with the year that has already started, this month I've already read 2 books, just one book. That was The Big Questions in Life by Swami Om. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but it was just OM and then SWAMI. And then the other one was a novel. And you guys don't judge me for the title, but it was Sweet Addiction. It was kind of a novel where this chick runs a bakery, falls in love with this guy that she hooks up with at a wedding reception, and then, normal fantasy kind of romance novels that are all out there. Yeah, and that's one thing that I'm actually happy I've been able to do. In regards to like reading and just trying to absorb as much as I can, I've really done well there. I've been doing the research. I have been writing a lot. So I think that's a good start to the year. And speaking of writing also, well, I'm just on the transition height right now. I managed to go through my goal setting exercise as a result of this whole New Year's resolution series. As I was writing the New Year's resolution series, I just put all these other things that I could incorporate into my planning for the year, as well as reflecting back on the previous year and everything like that. So I am very excited on how the next 3 years pan out, because I just took it from a model of planning for 1 year and I decided to plan for the 3 year Raymond, something like that. So for any project that I'm taking on right now, I will try to stick it out for 3 years. And however hard it gets during those 3 years, I'm not allowed to give up on it. If I have committed that this is going to be a long-term project, I'm going to give it 3 years. If it's going to be a short-term project, I've kind of broken them down by criteria into 6 months, 1 year, and then 3 years. There is no 2 years. There is no in between there. So I don't know. We shall see how that goes. I'll definitely keep you updated in episodes like this. And then I'm generally still unsatisfied with the kind of effort that I am giving some of the other projects, But I did realize that one of the things that is causing this is because I said yes to too many things last year. For example, it hurts me to say, but I should have said no to the research project because it has taken so much of my time, and yet I already have all these other moving parts. And I'm just trying to just get ways to optimize and shift a few things around. I want to shift it into a model of more execution and more speed for most of these other moving parts, especially with the business, yes. But also I want to say no to more things this year. So I guess that's the kind of outlook I have for the year and just an update on life. And then just to share some thoughts that came to me during the week, during the first few weeks of this year. And let's just workshop them and see. So the first one was comparing yourself with others. The question I asked myself, because I was listening to a podcast and it was all about this, you shouldn't compare yourself with others, you should only compare yourself to who you were yesterday. This whole premise that Jordan Peterson writes about in his books, 12 Rules for Life, 12 Morals, and all these YouTube videos that he has. You see this common theme everywhere, even with Oprah. I think she has a good talk on it, whereby they're like, stop comparing yourself to other people because you don't know what they are going through. You don't know which kind of circumstances they are in. You don't know what they had to do to get to that point. And you might be comparing yourself, or you might be comparing your chapter 1 to someone's chapter 3, to someone's chapter 20, to someone's chapter 30. I mean, it's not comparing apples with apples, in other words. So the whole premise was, stop comparing yourself to other people because you don't know what they are going through or the kind of circumstances that the two of you have are very different. And then I kind of thought about it this way. What if, yes, it would be very wrong for me to compare myself to, let me say, Elon Musk. I'm setting the bar high. But yes, it would be very wrong for me to compare myself to Elon Musk right now. I mean, the guy is worth 430 plus billion right now as we speak. Very wrong. But look at me comparing myself to, and let's just say for this example's sake, that is his chapter 40. But how dangerous is it actually to compare, let me say myself, if I am looking for this external metrics and kind of view of what I should be doing, or just to kind of try to guide my steps? What if I compared myself to Elon Musk's chapter one? Is isn't that literally okay? Because if I am on chapter one and I compare myself to his chapter one, I could get a very, I don't know, okay, not a very accurate, because yes, the circumstances are still different, but I mean, it becomes more relevant to my situation, I think, other than dismissing the fact that you shouldn't compare yourself to others. Because where are you going to get the benchmarks to perform the things that you need to do in your life, to go after these whole things, if you're going to just wholeheartedly stop comparing yourself with others and then compare yourself to who you were yesterday? Because let me tell you, this is what the one trick, or the one, actually the one pitfall most people fall into, is that when let me say today I work so hard, I do all these things, and I feel like, you know what, I've gone all out today, and then tomorrow comes in, and just because I have this benchmark of myself that yesterday I did well, there will be two reactions. One is that I'll either work harder than I did yesterday, or two, and which is the most common case, is that I will look at yesterday and be like, you know what, man, I worked hard yesterday. Today I can rest, I can afford to be complacent. Why? Because, man, I was a beast yesterday. You get it? I don't know if the argument would hold in that kind of situation. Or I don't know if this is something that is only experienced by me, but I've seen it a lot of times in my life, whereby, you know, I will compare what I've done today to what I have done yesterday, and then I'll be more relaxed the next day. Or what I did last week, and then I'm more relaxed this week. What I did last month, and then I'm more relaxed the next month. But if I am comparing myself to this guy, that, let me say, I'm comparing my chapter one to his chapter one. He says, let me say, when I was in college, I was doing this. I am also in college, but I am doing way less. What if I set the bar to do as much as he did? Maybe by the end, maybe by my chapter 30, I am mimicking his chapter 10 or something like that, because these guys obviously have exponential growth. Or maybe let's say I'm on chapter 10. I could compare myself to Elon Musk's chapter 5 or chapter 1, which is still a steep bar. But I mean, this whole thing of dismissing external comparison, I don't think holds ground. Yeah, very long explanation, but that's it. And then the third one I have here is to stop waiting for that big thing to change you. And this is what I mean. On reflection, I have realized that on several occasions, I was waiting for this massive wake up call, the life altering event, or maybe even some kind of catastrophe to, or that would finally force me to change. Like, like in all these biographies, you read biographies of, let me say, like Elon Musk, and he says this, that. You read the biography of Henry Ford, Napoleon Hill, and they have these moments in their life where things were so bad, the pain of staying the same was greater than the pain of change, and it forced them to change, and they sought out that greatness. Right now, you might be comfortable, but you're not changing to accommodate the kind of vision that you have. So could it be that you needed that bad thing to happen? So that's the kind of, like, stereotype I unfortunately default to sometimes. But the truth is, and I have always known it, is that this is an illusion, and I just need to go ahead and do the thing. I thought that this whole issue of thinking that some major crisis or some magical breakthrough is what you need to light the fire within you is going to just lead you down a rabbit hole of being complacent and stagnant. You know, it kind of gives you this escape route for not doing what you need to do. And yes, we can rationalize it. Okay, we can say that maybe you are afraid, afraid of starting small because small steps don't feel as exciting, or even worse, it could be that it's just avoidance. Because if you have noticed, it is easier to think about doing something other than actually doing it or going ahead and doing it. And thinking about doing something, on the other side, is even easier than to admit that we can take action today and get that thing done, but we still don't do it. You get this whole multifaceted argument, because you see, me waiting for something to force me out of my shell just because, I am being comfortable is a very bad model to live your life by. So you get trapped in this period where you are just waiting, in other words, yeah? Waiting for the right time that will come later when you are somehow braver, you are somehow stronger, or when the pain of staying the same is now greater than the pain of change. I mean, you can change while still being comfortable, while still, pursuing your dreams, while still being able to enjoy the other things in life. I don't have to give everything up to chase my dream just so that I can effect that change. It is okay to chase your dream while you, let me say, go out with your friends, while you chase after these other things. I don't think the precondition for success should be that you have to go through a shit ton of failure sometimes. I know you're going to be rejected in this and that and this, but it shouldn't be obvious that for me to succeed, or it shouldn't be the formula that for me to succeed, I need to suffer. Suffering is going to come at you whether you are succeeding or not, unfortunately. I mean, poor people will suffer, rich people will suffer. It's just a different kind of suffering, different kind of problems. So I have set out to try to look out more for this and just do what I need to do. Truth is, there are no shortcuts, and I'm also hoping that by talking about it to you and to myself, it will make it more, I'll make myself more aware of it and more aware when I'm doing it so that I can just push through. Healthy change doesn't require a crisis, like I've said. It doesn't need a big break. In most cases, it just needs a decision and an action. It could be a boring decision and an action that is slow and sometimes very hard to make because of all this friction. So I just want to train myself, and I hope for you that, or for us, that we start to train ourselves to do what we need to do, to start small and just stay consistent. And maybe just to wrap it all up, what I'm saying and what my message is to stop waiting for that big thing. Just stop putting your life on hold, hoping for a sign, for a crisis, or some, magical combination of activities that are sacred. Just start now, start small, be consistent, and trust that whatever you are doing, the vision or the lines or the dots will align further ahead, like Steve Jobs says. Okay, and then my last one is a thought on I had while listening to the Elevation Worshipper podcast, and it was about unschedulable blessings. It's kind of hard to pronounce it, but it is unschedulable blessings. I got this from one of Pastor Stephen Fatik's sermons, which is actually titled this way, The Unschedulable Blessings. And the message was about many things. I'm not going to quote him directly, but this is what I got out of it. Your trials, your tough times have a schedule, and they are actually part of the schedule. Because when it didn't look like Jesus wasn't on schedule, he actually was. If you look at the Bible, he used the examples of Jairus, whose daughter died while Jesus was still en route, and he was trying to help these people. If you remember the story of this bleeding lady that touched Jesus Christ, and he felt power come from him. He was on his way to help this guy that had come to him and said, "You know what? My daughter is sick. She's dying. Please come." And by the time they resumed the journey after him healing this lady, there was a servant that came to them and told him, "You know what? Your daughter has already died." And he also used the example of Lazarus, who was sick, and Jesus waited 2 more days before traveling. And by the time he reached there, Lazarus was already dead. So in both these cases, something bad happened just because of something or a decision that happened, or just the way life was going around, or what was happening in the situations that were presented in the story in the Bible. The thing is that for all these tragedies and for everything that happened, Jesus didn't need to reschedule or to kind of speed up his process or to take shortcuts. He was actually on time to demonstrate his power, And the whole message behind the sermon was that Jesus Christ, the Lord, will always be on time to turn your situation around. The other example he used was Abraham. Abraham wasn't on schedule for anything. I mean, he was 75 when God gave him this promise that he would be the father of many nations, not outlining how this would come to pass, not warning that he would go through wars and he would come across rulers that were after his wife, after his things, and through this whole journey, he just had to believe and trust in the one that called him. And that was just based on a promise that he had received from God. And then he gets this 25 years after, when he's like at 100. All this is to say that we all have that thing that is within us, that seed that has been planted in us, and what you have been called to do. In other words, that itch, that feeling from God, from the universe, that is the promise that is referred to in the story of Abraham. You see, God will make a promise to us, and let me say, you have this feeling within you that you are meant to do this one thing, but then you go through all these trials and I don't want to say tribulations, which is cliche, but trials and tribulations that kind of deter you, that kind of force you to go down this hard path. But at the end of it all, you need to be faithful because it is already yours. That thing, that itch, that feeling that you have within you is actually the promise that has already been sent to you as proof that, you know what, this is where you are supposed to go. So if you have ever felt like life was off schedule, like the blessings you are waiting for are taking too long, I really do get it. Sometimes it's overbearing even for me. But here is the perspective that this message gave me and that I want to share with you. Even when it feels like nothing is happening, even when everything is going down the drain, even when you feel like, you know what, you would rather quit than go through this, whatever you are going through, but you still have this one thing that led you onto that journey. Just realize that all that is happening is actually on schedule. It is preparing you for that journey. It is preparing you for the end. Everything is on schedule. When the time comes, it will be perfect. So sometimes we'll go through all these trials, but this should be an encouragement to you, whether you believe in God or not. Let me say that you believe in the universe. This should be an encouragement to you that the universe has already set this path out for you, and you are destined to reach this place. But you need to have grit, you need to have the faith, and you need to carry out the works that will get you there. And I think that's a good place to end this episode. I want to thank you all for tuning into this episode of the 5 to 9 Job. Please subscribe and follow the show if you haven't already. Like and comment on the show. I would really be grateful for that blessing. And I guess I will see you in the next episode. Have a good one. Bye-bye.